Can you talk a little bit about why why you think RPOs are good at doing this, and what has held companies back from using RPOs in the past, and is that changing, and if so, why is that changing?
I think I'll address the last question first. Is it changing? Yes. There's several large companies I know that have outsourced almost 100% of their recruiting to RPOs. And I think that's a trend that's going to continue to grow. The reason goes back to what I mentioned a little while ago about costs and investment and so forth and so on. But I think more than anything, on top of all that, it's RPOs have really built vertical pipelines of candidates. They have the talent intelligence that companies lack. So let's just say you're an energy company, and suddenly you want to move into the renewable space. Well, the chances are, if you've been in traditional energy like oil or coal, you don't know anybody in the renewable space. And so the recruiters go out and they have to basically learn that whole market themselves, right? Really challenging, very time consuming and inefficient. Where if you go to an RPO that specializes in energy, they probably already have a whole database full of people in the renewable space that they can screen and vet for your positions. So the talent intelligence piece, the talent pool is a major contributor to the success of RPOs. And again, because they focus on verticals, typically, many of them do, and they may have many verticals they focus on, but in those verticals, they are really good. They're very in-depth. They know the people, they know the players, they know them in the geography that you want them in, and they have the technology to find them and assess them very quickly and very efficiently. So, to me, if people ask me, if you were the head of a talent organization, again, in a large company, I would immediately look for an RPO, and I would decide what jobs are proprietary enough or strategic enough that we need to keep them inside, and then focus on those jobs with more of a cross-functional recruitment team, and I would outsource the rest of them to this RPO. But I really believe that the future of recruiting is going to move more and more to the RPOs. Now, sure, some of the largest companies in the world will have the capability to do their own, and that's fine. And RPOs may not be cost effective for really small companies. So it fits a niche. It's kind of a large to medium large company spectrum. But that's where most of the hiring, or a lot of the hiring, takes place. A lot of the challenging hiring takes place. So RPOs have a very significant role to play, and I think it's going to grow. And most of the RPOs have, 20 years ago, RPOs were nothing more than, glorified agencies, I guess I would say. They really weren't that capable. That's changed tremendously. And the really good RPOs are very, very good at what they do.
Yeah, I worked in that field for a while, and, it was at the start, actually, sort of in the early 2000s, showing my age. And you're right, there was the glorified agencies really, and doing something a little bit different. And then you've got the pure play players coming in, the sort of Alexander Manns, the CLOs, and others. There's Wilson HEG, I think it's another one, isn't it? And, I can see, having worked in that space, that those companies are continuing to grow and grow and grow and grow. And I guess the technology is getting better, so they can provide that value at scale that they couldn't provide sort of 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Right, absolutely. And it's really all because of the internet, the data, the capability to gather this data, find this data. And of course, the virtual and remote world has expanded that marketplace significantly. And if you're willing to hire people remotely, you have a much bigger talent pool to tap into.
So what about those companies, and there are many that have already invested heavily in building in-house recruitment teams? Are you seeing some of them moving to RPOs, or did you see that as a trend that's going to sort of increase moving forward?
I haven't seen it yet. There's a few larger companies that have outsourced a lot of things to the RPOs. What they've done with their internal recruiters is the internal recruiters generally go work for the RPO. So they're not really laying them off or reducing them, but they're changing where and who they work for. And then the recruiters get better training as well from the RPO typically than they get internally. But I haven't seen the biggest companies, other than in a particular vertical. Now, a large company may go out and use the RPO for one type of role. Let's say we're an energy company and we don't know renewables. So we'll use an RPO for the renewable space, but we're still going to keep our normal recruiting for all the other things that we do. So I think you're going to see it as an evolution, not a revolution.
In this series, we will be speaking to a range of senior leaders who are pushing a data-driven and digital HR agenda. Make sure that you subscribe via your podcast app of choice and also via our YouTube channel for free and regular interviews with the digital HR leaders of the future.